The first ever NBA HBCU Classic between the Howard University, HU, and some school in Baltimore called Morgan State University will take place in a nationally televised game for All-Star Weekend, a part of the NBA's All-Star Weekend festivities. The league is expanding its support of historically black colleges and universities with this. Now, tomorrow's game will be broadcast on TNT and ESPN2 from the Wolstein Center in Cleveland State's home arena. Not only will these two HBCUs get national exposure, but each school will also receive a $100,000 donation from the NBA and AT&T. The funds will support student athletes with academic and wellness resources. Mia Berry covers everything HBCU for The Undefeated, and she joins us now. Mia, thank you so much for taking time to join us here on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
So, Mia, tell us a little bit about this. I know that you cover HBCUs for The Undefeated. That's the ESPN property that focuses specifically on African-American life, sports, culture, and everything else. Our good friend Kelly Carter's over there, so salute to her. But also, what the focus on HBCUs now seems to have been generated largely in the wake of what happened after 2020 and all the unrest that we saw. But kudos to ESPN and even more so to the NBA now, because it seems as though that's a commitment, no longer just a quick moment where they were acknowledging. Is that a fair read?
Absolutely. It's not just the NBA, also the NFL. I recently went to the NFL's first ever HBCU Combine. So you have multiple professional leagues taking the opportunity to make these investments into HBCUs. And the drawback and the feedback I'm getting from student athletes and coaches, they're excited. They want this type of national exposure. There's always a stigma around HBCUs for their student athletes. Guys don't know if they could pursue those professional aspirations. So seeing different leagues commit to HBCUs, commit to giving them exposure has been good all the way around.
Now, what's interesting, you mentioned the NFL, and we'll only stay there shortly because I know this is a conversation about the NBA. What's interesting, there are several HBCUs who have more Pro Football Hall of Famers than some of the big schools we might have heard of. You can consider, for example, Jackson State, obviously Deion Sanders there, home of Walter Payton, and many countless others. Morgan State University has put plenty of people into the National Football Hall of Fame, and I don't even think Ole Miss has as many as some of the schools in Mississippi. So some of the HBCUs there. So is this energy that you're seeing not just from the students, alumni, and parents at the HBCUs, but the larger communities around those HBCUs? Are they rallying around sports there?
Absolutely. Look at Jackson State, 40+ thousand people in one stadium just for their home games. HBCU alumni, the community, they've always been involved. They always have supported. It's just now you're seeing it at a larger scale. It took for Deion Sanders to come to Jackson for people to notice, oh, wow, Jackson State's selling out. They've been selling out for a while now. It's just you finally got the eyes and you got the attention there.
You mentioned Deion Sanders in football. We know that. We also know that Eddie George has made his way over to Tennessee State. We know that his last name is Hugh Jackson, is down at Grambling right now. But changing over to basketball, we saw that Chris Paul, when he was in the bubble, would almost daily come in with a different HBCU shirt. I saw Jimmy Butler wear a pair of Howard basketball shorts that, as an alum from Howard, I was a little jealous and I wanted to get my hands on them. So the NBA's pivot into HBCU seems to be surprising, but from what you're telling me, this is consistent with things that we should expect. Is that true?
Absolutely. And one thing, you mentioned Chris Paul. Chris Paul is actually a student at Winston-Salem State. His family are alums, so HBCUs have been running through his veins. Last year with the NBA All-Star Game in Atlanta, the mecca for HBCUs with Spelman, Morehouse, Clark Atlanta, Chris Paul, the Player Association president, was pushing for the NBA to do something at that point in time. You saw the HBCU bans, but he wanted a little bit more. So you're seeing players make that investment now as well. Chris Paul, he also he partnered with ESPN. He had 2 HBCU tournaments this year for both Division I and Division II. So
I remember
you're seeing players buy in.
I'm sorry, forgive me. I remember that. Was that the one that we saw earlier this year where Delaware State competed against North Carolina, Norfolk, if I'm not mistaken, or North Carolina Central? Is that the same one we're talking about?
Yes, that's one of 2. That was the Division I. Division II, you saw blue bloods like Virginia Union Ben Wallace, famous alum.
Yeah, Ben Wallace there. So this game coming up, Morgan versus Howard, they played against each other in Baltimore, and in a regulation game, Howard scored 90 points, Morgan scored 80 points, and I mean for HBCU or even college basketball, because quite honestly, if you watch the University of Wisconsin, it's not always a score fest there. But for college basketball, that's really good scoring. So what can we expect in a basketball sense out of this game from these two schools?
Out of these two schools, you're going to expect a battle of the backcourts. Howard currently third in the MEAC right now. I expect graduate student Kyle Foster and freshman Elijah Hawkins to be the difference maker for those teams. Same thing with the backcourt for the Morgan Bears. You have Deterion Ware, and you also have Malik Miller. So backcourts are going to be important for both schools. When they first met up, Kyle Foster had an off game. 3 points, a huge drawback from his usual 16, but now he's developing a rhythm. 4 out of the last 5 games, 20-plus points. So I'm expecting to see this game's going to be determined by which backcourt does the most, which backcourt is going to make those plays down the stretch.
A quick shout out to our friends over at HBCU Game Day. You can follow them on Instagram and whatnot. Also, Donald Ware from Press Box and Press Row, organizations that have been covering HBCU sports for a long time. And I'm surprised that you did, and HBCU Game Day, are the ones who had the viral internet video of, I believe it was Kyle Foster from Howard with a monster dunk on another player that really trafficked and showed that HBCU athletes have just as much athleticism as we can see from other athletes across the country. Yes?
Absolutely. And not just the viral video, we have other HBCU coaches, namely Tennessee State, Brian Collins. He partnered with Vanderbilt earlier this season for an HBCU combine because he knows the talent. He's seen the talent every day. He plays against it. He just wants this talent to be shown on a national level. Right now, the NBA's only HBCU player is Robert Covington, who plays for the Clippers. And hopefully with the added exposure, hopefully in the next couple of years, we're going to see a couple more HBCU players in the league.
And you mentioned Vanderbilt, and if I'm not mistaken, isn't Jerry Stackhouse the head coach there? Because Jerry Stackhouse has some North Carolina ties, and although he went to the University of North Carolina, there is no way you can be anywhere near Durham and not know about basketball at North Carolina Central. I know there are some famous pickup runs between Rasheed Wallace, Jerry Stackhouse, all down at Central. And Lavelle Moten had a documentary series on ESPN or ESPN Plus, if I'm not mistaken, chronicling Central's basketball season during the pandemic-afflicted season. Is that correct?
Absolutely. ESPN Plus is Why Not Us? And you kind of got to saw Coach Moten and his team battle through COVID. That was the issue. A great season for them. They were expecting to win the MEAC, got cut by COVID. Last year they dealt with COVID. I talked to Moten earlier this season about it, and he said, and I quote, "We were the most impacted team by COVID. 6 weeks missed at one point, 1 week here. They just couldn't get a rhythm. This year, you're seeing them rebound more. You have Justin Wright stepping up. So Central's doing what they're finally back to a rhythm. So it's good to see them rebound and get a handle on the virus.
Me, I got to be honest. I live in Baltimore. I'm an alum of Howard. I want no parts of Central winning the MEAC this year. If somebody going to win the MEAC, I'd rather it be Juan Dixon over at Coppin. I'd rather it be our good friends over at Morgan. Or ideally, it would be Coach Kevin Nickelberry. Is it still Kevin Nickelberry over at Howard University?
Actually, no. You have Kenneth Blankney.
So,
so former Duke
assistant.
Devil.
I'm sorry. Coach Nickelberry was really good to me. I guess that's why his name is still in the top of my head. Now, beyond the court, we know that AT&T and the NBA are making financial contributions to student athletes, but there's a unique spot that student athletes play at HBCUs because we remember the former Ohio State quarterback who said, I didn't come to college to play class, I came to play football. But at historically black colleges and universities, our professors there ensure that our athletes, while they are playing sports, you're here to learn something. So talk to us a little bit about how this contribution can benefit the scholastic career of these student athletes.
Of course. Mostly the financial contributions would go to classrooms, adding any type of extra contributions that each college needs. So off the court, I think this is fantastic. Them actually not saying, we're going to bring you in to play basketball. We're also going to add a little extra money to the schools. I know the schools are both very thankful. I'm not sure just yet where the money's going to be put toward, mostly Scholastic, but that's something I'm definitely going to follow up on.
And that's something that we're really excited about, because we are excited that at HBCUs, when our athletes bring money back to the university, if it's something that's affecting the classroom, all of our students, regardless of whether they're athletes or not, get to reap in the spoils of that. Isn't that the beautiful spirit of collectivism of people of African descent? Mia, tell folks where they can find and follow you if they want to keep up with your work and what you're doing over there with the Undefeated.
Absolutely. If you want to follow my work, you can see it on www.theundefeated.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at I am Mia Berry.
Mia, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you taking time to converse with us right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Have a great weekend. Enjoy All-Star Weekend. Who's your pick for the All-Star MVP before we let you get out of here?
I'm going to go King James.
Oh, I think he's getting a little old. He might not want to participate in all the All-Star games or anything like that. But we appreciate you. And you know what? Before I let you go, though, not just who's your pick for the All-Star, three-point contest. You got a favorite?
Ooh, not just yet. It's a toss-up for me. Three-point contest is never who you think is going to win is going to win.
That's true. That's true. And the dunk contest.
I like Jalen Green. As someone that's seen him in person, his athleticism, his bounce is phenomenal. I can't wait to see. Hopefully he comes up with something creative.
And the most important question of the weekend, who's going to win tonight's Celebrity All-Star Game MVP?
I have no idea.
They didn't teach you that in journalism school, did they? That's how you would come on television and someone asks you who's going to win the Celebrity Game MVP. Well, that's what happens when you come on Black Media. We're going to have fun. We're going to make sure we get the information out, but we're going to have some fun with you.
Yeah.
Mia Berry, thank you so much for your time. We look forward to all your fantastic reporting on HBCUs here at the Undefeated.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?